Hey guys, welcome to She Knows Arsenal. My name is Jessica and I'm your host, and you can follow me on Twitter at It's Justino. So this is an instant match reaction. Arsenal 2, Newcastle nil. What can I say? It's a game that we should have won. So, I don't think we're going to be like jumping for joy or anything like that. But, I think it was a pretty dominant performance against a Newcastle team that we should be beating. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's always happened in the past. We have not been able to get it over the line against teams that we should be beating. So I don't want to say like, you know, it's it doesn't matter at all. Of course it matters, but I'm just glad that we got the job done and we didn't have to hear more commentary or more, crying and moaning about how Arsenal are just not doing it this season. We all know we're not doing it this season, but hey, at least we won the game, right? So if you're in the chat box right now, let me know that you're watching, where you're watching in from, and what you thought of the game. You guys could just give me like 1 second just so I can let people know what's going on. And I hope everybody's doing well. I know that the news about what's happening at Old Trafford is probably taking up the majority of everybody's attention, which makes sense because it's never happened before. And we knew that there was going to be some sort of protesting, but I don't think we thought that they would be actually, mobbing the field and getting into locker rooms and things like that. And it took a long time for the police to get there, but I'm just hoping that everybody that's there is safe, because those are some scary scenes. But yeah, I don't think this game really means much in terms of our season. I think we all kind of know that the eggs are all in the Europa League basket, but just like how before the second Slavia Prague game, we played Sheffield and we had a very dominant performance against them, we were able to kind of carry that into the Slavia Prague second leg. So, and then before our first leg against Villarreal, we lost to Everton. I think this team really needs to build up confidence. They're pretty mentally weak. They're not able to just kind of like turn it back on. They need to play some easier teams and get some rhythm going before they can have a decent performance. I can't stand that about this team, but that's just who they are. So for me, I just felt like we needed to have a slightly, probably some easier competition to play and to just be dominant against them so that when we try to play against Villarreal, we have some confidence behind us. I think Arteta with the lineup, you could clearly see that he was trying to get some minutes in the legs for David Luiz and Aubameyang and players that have been out for a while. And I think that was the right thing to do because obviously David Luiz has gotten injured, but we would have needed them. So we need them to have some minutes in their legs. And so I didn't really have an issue with that per se. I think playing Gabriel Martinelli, he was pretty much the only player worth watching in that game because I think that he showed once again what this team is really missing, which is urgency, confidence, aggression, directness. Like he's everything that the team is not. If you looked at him, he stands out because he doesn't sit on the corners of the boxes looking for little 5-yard passes, and he doesn't do that. He's so freaking direct, and he was the only thing worth watching in that game for me. And it's just nice to see him back, at Arsenal. And I think he'll start to get goals if he continues to play. And obviously he was amazing for the assist for the Aubameyang goal. Let's be real. He probably should have had like 3 assists because it was like they just weren't on the same page as him. Martinelli is playing on a completely different planet than the rest of this team. He's so direct. He just gets the ball, beats his man, and crosses it. And if we had any players that had any impetus in them, any sort of aggression in them, or just natural instinct, they would have tap-ins. He's like a striker's dream to play with because I think as a striker himself, he knows what other strikers want. And that's probably just a nicely struck ball into, the penalty box there to be tapped in. So the kid was great today. His pressing was good. His energy was great. And I want more Martinelli. I want less of this slow, methodical passing that gets us nowhere and just backwards passing, sideways passing. I want more aggression. I think the guy that was playing up against Martinelli was having a horrendous time. He was dead, because Martinelli was just killing him. And so it was nice to watch him play. And with David Luiz and Gabriel, I think they continuously show why they're the better center back pairing. And I hate that David Luiz got injured, because you could see from the first couple of minutes what we were missing when we have Rob Holding. Rob Holding is probably playing as good as he can possibly play. So I'm not saying that he's, not playing to the best of his ability. I think he actually is, but he's a low block defender. Like, he's not the type of defender that you're going to have in your team when you're trying to dominate possession. Luis has that nice switch. He can play the ball across field. And when you have a lot of possession, you need that to switch the point of play. He also has that nice little floater that he can play in behind the fullbacks. Every time Rob Holding tries to play that, it either goes out for a corner or out for a goal kick or out for a throw-in. And it's just unfortunate that we're probably not going to have him on Thursday in conjunction with Lacazette and Tierney. Those are really important players for us offensively, and we're not going to have them, so we're going to have to make some concessions. But I want to know what kind of you guys are thinking about the game. So let's get into some of these comments. AK says David Luiz's hamstring probably out for the rest of the season. What a shame. I want to see Chambers and Gabriel duo with Bellerin as right back. That's interesting. I don't necessarily feel like I need to see Bellerin anymore. I think he's just okay. If you put Chambers at the center back position, then I guess you would, because I think we can see Cedric is just not, he has fallen out of favor with Arteta. And I think it was after that Slavia Prague game where he just decided he couldn't trust him anymore. Not sure if I think that that's necessarily fair, considering that there's Danny Ceballos started today. So, I mean, if you can't trust Cedric, you damn sure can't trust Ceballos. But he doesn't seem to really rate Cedric at the moment. So, I mean, I would like to see him. But, I mean, if Bellerin came in and Chambers played at center back, I mean, hey, but I think you'll see Holding. I don't think Arteta is going to switch away from that. Justin says, you could tell the difference that David Luiz made. Some of the passes were so good. Exactly. And we don't have anybody else with that quality at all. We don't have anybody in our midfield with that quality. We don't have anybody on the back line with that quality. So we lose so much, offensively, with one of our center backs being missing and David Luiz. So back to the old Holding. I mean, his distribution is average to be nice. He's not good at distribution, and that's because he's a low block defender. He's the type of defender you want when you're under the cosh, when you're constantly being battered with crosses and stuff. He's good. He's fine when you're just pretty much going to be playing in your half. But when you have so much possession, you need to have better center backs back there able to distribute, and Holding just doesn't have it. Carrie says, was Newcastle just too shit or Arsenal good? I mean, that's how the game should look. We, at our best, were much better than the teams that were in and around in the table. But at our worst, we can play against like a Newcastle and tie or lose. So the issue with Arsenal is that the range is just so wide. We can look like a top 4 team one day and look like a 12th place team the next. So I think it was a combination of the two. I don't think we were great. I think we had enough to finish off the job, which we should be able to. Even with a rotated squad, we're better than Newcastle. Like, we just are. But we showed up enough, to keep them out of the game, and we got an early goal, which helped. But I think there were moments between the time that we scored till about like the 60th, 70th minute where we were pretty much just cruising and just kind of taking a mental vacation from the game. It lacked intensity. And I don't really think that that's like we're managing the game and we don't have to get another goal. It was just that between the 15th and 80th minute, sometimes we just go missing. And that's what happened. So I think it was just a combination of both, to be honest. New Dawn Games, Joe says, 3 words: dominant, dull, done. Now let's move on to the plan for Thursday. I mean, the plan for Thursday was probably to play David Luiz. And now that that's out, I'm kind of like, what the hell do we do now? I guess we have to go back to Holding, but does that mean that you take Gabriel out? I don't think Marie has been amazing, and Gabriel is one of our best one-on-one defenders. He's rash, but he's one of our better defenders. And if you want to have Granit Xhaka out there at left back, which looks like is going to happen, then you might want to put somebody else with speed over there on that left-hand side. So, but Gabriel and Holding together just doesn't work. There's something about it that just, it doesn't work. There's no chemistry. So, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Aubameyang's goal was nice. It was like a typical Aubameyang goal. The one thing about Aubameyang is that he's so athletic that that goal was so nice. He was able to jump in the air and kind of get like that nice little volley on it. And he needed that for his confidence. And I'm glad that there was a link up between Martinelli and Aubameyang, because over the year, basically since Martinelli's been here, Arteta hasn't really, or really since Arteta's been here, Arteta has opted not to play them together. And I kind of get it, but at the same time, it's like, why wouldn't you want to get your best scorers out there? Martinelli is better than Nketiah. He's better than a lot of the people that we play out there, so if you want danger, play Martinelli and Aubameyang together. I see it works. It's perfectly fine, unless you want to tippy tap on the edge of the box and continue to pass 5-yard balls to each other and not get shots, then yeah, don't play Martinelli. But if you want to score goals and be dangerous and scare the other team, play Martinelli and Aubameyang together. I don't know why we opt for the safer choice, the players that are going to pass sideways and backwards. No team wants to play against Aubameyang and Martinelli together. They don't, because it's dangerous, so pick the more dangerous combination. Moving into Thursday, I would prefer to see Martinelli, Aubameyang, and Bukayo Saka start up top. And then if things aren't working, maybe bring Pepe in. But we need to score. We need to score goals. So if you go out there with no striker or one striker, or, Aubameyang plus people behind him that don't necessarily score goals, I think you're shooting yourself in the foot. Tony says, we came out and played for 5 minutes and small team backed off. A little intention got them thinking and we took over. I mean, yeah, we played for like 5 minutes, but I just think that we could have killed off the game so much earlier, and that's what I don't like. It's like if we get an early goal, we don't put the game away. If we don't get the early goal, we just kind of taper off. Big teams finish off the game, and even if you get the goal and then you don't necessarily get the second one, I still think you should dominate the game. And I think there were spells in that where we just kind of, if Newcastle was a better team, they might have got us a couple of times. And we couldn't even, St. Maximin, if he was any better, I can't understand why we can't handle one player. Yeah, David Luiz distribution was really good. Let's see what you guys are saying. Max says, what's your predicted back five for the game on Thursday? Chambers, Holding, Marie, and Xhaka. The only people that are, and Leno, I think the only person that might have a shout to be in there would be Gabriel. I think he'll go with what he went for in the first leg. I don't see him bringing in Bellerin or Cedric, even though maybe he should. So I'm not quite sure, but that's what I would think. New Dawn Games says Bellerin had too many moments with the ball where he could have burst forward, but instead turned back and passed the ball backward. He kills our momentum. We need to move him on in the summer. I think he's gone. I think he's off. I don't think, and that's my thing. It's like, okay, so with Bellerin, you've decided to pretty much just shun him from the team and you don't play him anymore. I mean, he was somebody that you played consistently and then all of a sudden he just fell off. And I don't know if that's because they know that he's going to leave. So why don't you do the same thing with Ceballos? Why did Ceballos play today? I don't get it. It's like, okay, so Bellerin is somebody that we know is probably going to leave. So I believe in, if somebody's not going to be on the team next season or they're a lone player and they're not playing well, drop them. Why? What do we get from playing players that don't matter anymore? Ceballos played horrendously against Villarreal and then gets to start against Newcastle. I don't care if the Newcastle game doesn't matter. He should be dropped and you should just play Aziz or somebody like that. Ceballos getting to start another game for Arsenal Football Club after the horror show that he put in against Villarreal, to me just shows everything that's wrong with Arteta. It's just kind of like nothing really makes sense. You drop certain people, you don't drop others. Cedric can't get a game. He had a mistake against Slavia Prague, and then after that, he never plays again. But even though other people are making mistakes, they get to come straight back in. I mean, it doesn't make sense, so I don't know. And yeah, I get Ceballos played to rest party, but this game meant nothing. So what? Like, because you have not played Aziz, the game means nothing. Ceballos still should have been dropped, period, because he cost us. He could have cost us more. And it wasn't just the red card. It was the amount of times that he was out of position, losing the ball at the center of the field. And he's in the media talking. I mean, he could have just saved his breath. He doesn't have to go into the media and say, come get me, Real Betis, come get me, whatever. He could have just said, let's see at the end of the season what we want to do. He's actively trying to get a move in the middle of our season when we're at the end of the season and we need him to be concentrating. I just think I couldn't believe that I was seeing Ceballos. I can't understand why I'm still seeing Ceballos play for Arsenal Football Club. This is what I'm saying. Like, the game meant nothing. Would it have killed you to play Aziz? No, not really. And just to make a point, like, you're no longer needed here. Like, maybe Arteta just rates him so highly. I don't know. Ceballos' choice is pragmatic. If our midfield gets injured against Villarreal, he has to go back in. I mean, maybe, but he still should be dropped, just like everybody else who makes a mistake and almost costs us the game. I just don't get it. He's not that good where, like, I don't know. I mean, if Partey gets hurt, then El Neni should come in. Like, you have other options. Freaking use them. I don't get it. So that's just me. But I don't know. I just think he should have been dropped, period. I don't know why I'm still seeing him. Paul says Willian doesn't even try. I mean, I don't think he had a horrendous game, but he had one of his typical, pass backwards, off kind of games. He was just okay. I would like to feel like we're trying to figure out a way to move him on in the summer. The guy is just, it was a mistake. It's not going to change. I don't think he wants it to change. And he's just taking up air and space. The guy is just dead, so I don't know. I think with Willian, him not being horrendous is not good enough. Not on the money that you're on, not with the experience that you have. He just seems kind of dead, so I don't know. That was a huge mistake and a big black mark on the CV for Arteta and Edu for me. Stuart says, do you think Arsenal is up for sale? No, I don't. I know I'm seeing all of the kind of noise out there about how they've been up for sale for the last 2 years and all this kind of stuff. I'm not sure. I think everybody has their price, so if somebody was to come in with a stupid offer over 2 billion, then maybe they would consider it. But I'm not quite sure. I don't think they're really up for sale the way that the media is trying to spin it, because I'll tell you, Arsenal fan base is very wound up right now. We're one of the biggest and most active fan bases on the internet. And if you can get enough Arsenal fans to believe something, that gets your clicks, that gets you more money on your blog sites or whatever. So I think they're just throwing bones out there to get the Arsenal fans riled up. They know that ownership or an ownership takeover type of scenario is what we want to hear about, kind of like transfers as well. So I think they're trying to kind of taking us for a loop. The magazines or the blogs that are coming out talking about it, it's all kind of, it just seems like clickbait, to be honest. So if we're up for sale and somebody puts up a bid and it's over the asking price, or over, it's a huge offer, then maybe they would consider it. That's the only way that I can see us being sold. And I don't think Daniel Ek really has the capital necessary. Anton says Arteta did the same thing for Pepe after his red against Leeds, straight in at the EL game. So I think it's a principle for Arteta rather than his specific love for Ceballos. I mean, maybe, maybe it is. You know, I don't know. I think maybe I just don't want to see Ceballos anymore. I was very shocked to see him. But that is true. That's a really good point. Tony says Willian was an absolute shit from the right. Why did it take 30 plus games to figure this out? I don't know. But that's the thing. It's like Willian was an absolute shit. Just shows what our expectations of him are like at this moment. Is that as long as he's not total crap, that's okay. Like it's totally not okay for the guy to be out here doing the bare minimum, if that, So um I think Arteta's been trying to make him into this half space pseudo 10 off of the left hand side, inverted type of he's nowhere near the type of caliber of player that Arteta's been used to being around at City, that you can just put them in any old position and they probably do okay. Willie is an out and out old school winger that just push it passing, cross the ball. And he's never been that player. And we're seeing it. Like he's just not good enough to play that way. If he does okay, it's usually against like some of the worst teams, i.e. Fulham, i.e. Newcastle. So he has to play on the right because that's the position that he's always played his entire life. And if you just give him less to do and just say, hey, when you get it, push it past the defender and cross it, then he'll probably be more successful. But Arteta's asking him to be more like Bukayo or more like Bernardo Silva, like these types of players that can play kind of like a winger, but they can make the decision to be more like a 10 when they need to, technically sound, have more about them. Willian is a very basic player, so he's being asked to do things like other players in our team, to do things that are outside of their skill set. So it's very difficult for me to understand how they would play well in that scenario. Willian's been doing the same thing for a decade. You can't just switch it up on the drop of a hat, Alexander G says, bright side is that today's lineup reflects who's starting on Thursday. Saka, ESR, Aubameyang, Pepe, Party, and Martinelli off the bench. Yeah, for sure. I think what I would have been upset about is if Saka and Emil Smith-Rowe had started in this game, and Thomas, so I think he's learning, because just a couple weeks ago, he probably would have started Saka and Emil Smith-Rowe. They don't need to play. They need to be rested, so I think that's a good thing. And we kind of know who's going to start this game. Against Thursday. I don't think it's like a big secret. I think David Luiz would have started if he had not gotten injured. Tierney's out, Lacazette's out, so Xhaka at left back for sure. If you want to think about the midfield and Ceballos being out, it's El Neni, isn't it? Because Granit Xhaka is going to play in the left back position. So it could be Thomas and El Neni, or Arteta could surprise us and have Thomas play by himself and put like Emil Smith-Rowe in there with Odegaard as 2 8s or 2 10s or something, which I think is what we need to go for, because honestly, we need to score goals. So it's going to be interesting, but if it's El Neni and Thomas, that's worked in the past, so I don't really have an issue with it. We'll see. But I think everything else is pretty much, Saka is going to come in, Odegaard is probably going to start, Aubameyang is going to start, Emil Smith-Rowe will probably come in. Depending on where Emil Smith-Rowe plays, maybe Pepe starts as well. So, but he needs to put out a very offensive lineup, period. We have to go for it. There's no point in playing scared at this point. Abdallah says, big up, Jess. Quick question. Do you think Arsenal are going to win on Thursday? I don't know. I almost need to see the lineup. I think we have a good chance of winning. I think we have a chance of winning. I don't know. I just don't know about this team, to be honest, mentality-wise. I think we could put out a couple of different variations of the players that we have, and depending on the mentality, we could win or lose. So I think if the mentality is right, we'll batter them. Villarreal didn't show anything in that game to make me think that they're like this really good team and we didn't see it coming or something like that. I think it's all a mentality issue. So we'll see. I think we have a good chance of winning, but I wouldn't put all, I wouldn't bet my house on it, you know. Tony says, smash the likes. Yeah, you guys, smash the likes or gently tap them or whatever. Why not? Says, imagine having Chilwell left back and Alonso 3M case. I don't know. You talking about Chelsea? I don't really think about Chelsea like that, to be honest. Anton says the players' confidence after the Villarreal game was comforting somehow, maybe misguided, but I liked it. Show it on the pitch. Take them out in the first 10, 15 minutes, like you did against Slavia Prague, and then we'll see. They're so fragile. They're like glass, one little thing and they crumble, so hey, we'll see. Philosophic says, because we have to score goals and Louis' injury hurts us even more. Yeah, for sure it does. Rob Holding is somebody that I just think he kills us back there because he can't distribute. So if they give us the ball, he kicks it out of bounds so much. Like if he tries to do that little lofted ball in behind to Bukayo Saka, it usually goes out for a goal kick or it's too heavy or whatever, so he's definitely not a horrendous player, but he doesn't help us offensively. Stuart asked, what defense would I play? I would probably play, it's such a difficult question because none of them are really that great. I don't know. I'd probably keep Jack at left back. I know that might sound crazy, but it's because we've been doing it. And if you bring Cedric in now after he's been iced out, there's no guarantee that he'll come in and play well. So I think you have to continue on with Xhaka. I would play Gabriel because then you need somebody to cover Granit Xhaka. I would begrudgingly play Holding. I mean, what's your other option? And I'd probably play Bellerin. I don't think Bellerin is great, but I think if we have the ball, we need to get forward. No, you know what? I think I'd play Chambers. I think I'd play Chambers because he has a better cross on him. And yeah, I think I'd play Leno. And the reason why I'd play Leno, you guys, is not because I don't think Matty Ryan has played well, but because Leno needs to dig his own grave. If we lose against Villarreal and for some reason Matty Ryan doesn't have a great game, or there's something subjective in there where you can say that it may have been Matty Ryan's fault, then you can't play Leno anymore. You can't play Leno anymore for the rest of the season because you can't drop your number one for a big game and then we lose, and then try to bring him back in. You'll never be able to play Leno again. So, and I think there are players in the team that would capitulate as well because that's just, they would just feel like people are talking about it. This team is, again, they're weak, so I don't know. And I think they like Leno. Leno's popular. Those types of things matter in this team for some reason. If the player is popular and they're dropped, then players that are close to them don't play as well, things like that, whatever. They're thinking about it. So I'd rather Leno dig his own grave, step up and play like the number one, because if Matty Ryan makes a mistake, that's it. That's it. You can't go back from that, So I think I just play Leno just because he's our number one, and you start chopping and changing that the center back, or not the center back, the goalkeeper. I think it adds chaos to a team that needs anything but that at the moment. All right, you guys, this is it. This is going to be it. I know it's not a long one and the game was kind of like boring. I mean, we won, but yeah, so we kind of talked about everything that we need to talk about. So let's think. Tomorrow will be the post-match show. Do post-match show for this game, talk about it, talk about the tactics, talk about some other things, whatever. And yeah. Are you guys going to enjoy the rest of your Sunday? Because I know I am. Watch some more football, chill out, maybe not think about Arsenal so much and see what's going on at Old Trafford. I'm not sure if they're going to go ahead with the game or not, but like the video and subscribe to the channel, you guys. More good content coming your way. I have some big changes coming up soon. So hopefully I'll be able to announce them as soon as possible. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.